Welcome to the program. With just 2 days to go, both major parties are still locked in a bitter struggle to win the election on Saturday, a struggle that's going down to the wire. With economic management one key to the outcome, the opposition late today finally released its policy costings and claimed its budget surplus would be 3 times that of Labor's by 2012-13. The opposition used a large accounting firm to check its costings after refusing to submit them to the Treasury's Charter of Budget Honesty process. Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey questioned whether Treasury could be trusted after a leak to the media alleging a shaky coalition policy costing early last week. Labor is already contesting the validity of the coalition figures, with the Treasurer claiming the costings are full of holes and mistakes. We can expect more on that from both sides tomorrow. Meanwhile, both leaders were pitching to Queenslanders via a community forum in Brisbane tonight. But there's still no debate on the economy. Political editor Heather Hewitt.
That's not spin, that's direct from my heart. The premise of your question is absolutely wrong. We're investing hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's been a long campaign and the pressure of crisscrossing the country in the final days is starting to show. In just 24 hours, Julia Gillard has travelled from Townsville to Emerald to Sydney to Perth, where today she defended the tough pace she'd set for herself.
My message to the people of Western Australia, my message to Australians generally, is every vote counts. Every vote will decide the future of our $1.3 trillion national economy.
There was just one moment this morning to pause for reflection at the War Memorial in Kings Park, before she was off again to another marginal seat with yet another announcement, this time to train 6,000 teachers to teach financial literacy in schools.
I want kids in school to understand the benefits of savings. I want them to understand what it's like to have a mortgage and how you pay down debt. I want them to understand how to calculate how a credit card works and what it's going to cost them, what a mobile phone plan costs them, how they can meet the bills.
I'm very good on diesel engines.
For Tony Abbott, Queensland was the place to be today, as he declared he'd spend the remaining days of the campaign in the Sunshine State or New South Wales, the 2 states that have the largest number of swinging seats.
Today I'm blitzing Queensland, alerting Queensland to the clear and present danger of the mining tax and the need to change their local members if they're going to change the government and stop the tax.
But a lot of the media questioning was on why he wasn't in Sydney with his shadow treasurer and finance spokesman, who later in the day would be announcing the size of the budget surplus under a coalition government, along with policy costings the opposition has refused to submit to Treasury's Charter of Budget Honesty.
I'm only too happy to answer questions on these subjects, but I am trusting and relying on my senior shadow ministerial colleagues to release the costings today.
It becomes increasingly clear that when the big economic decisions need to be made, Mr Abbott goes missing.
What we are going to see from them is supposedly a list of numbers from an accounting firm without the assumptions tested.
I think they'll be saying they're dinkum. I think the government will be saying they're a fraud. And I think the people of Australia will be saying we're fed up with this, we're going to vote Green.
As the media waited and waited, one scheduled time after another passed by this afternoon for Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey and Finance spokesman Andrew Robb to hold their news conference.
It looks like now not happening until 4:30.
Well, at this rate, we could be here to Christmas, waiting for the Liberal Party's economic policy. In the real world of policy making, you simply cannot be delaying like this. This is an economic shambles.
15 minutes later, just in time for TV news bulletins, but not enough time to allow detailed analysis, they finally emerged with this declaration.
The Coalition is announcing today that we will cut Labor's massive $90 billion debt by a third within 4 years. We will run a surplus of additional $11.5 billion compared to Labor over the forward estimates. As you can see from the charts, the underlying budget surplus will increase by $11.5 billion over the forward estimates. So in 2012-13, Labor forecasts a budget surplus of $3.5 billion. We will deliver a surplus of $6.2 billion. In 2013-14, the Coalition will deliver a surplus of $7.3 billion compared to Labor's forecast of $4.5 billion.
The opposition had refused to deal with Treasury's Charter of Budget Honesty after a leak to the media last week suggesting Treasury had found a big hole in one of its costings. The opposition said it would be using an independent auditor instead, and today announced this was the accounting firm WHK Howarth.
We are offering the most comprehensive analysis of opposition policies ever in Australia, with an independent audit firm, the fifth biggest firm in Australia, verifying our figures. And we are doing so in an open, transparent and honest way.
They've spent 2 months going laboriously through our expenditure and our savings programs. They do understand the modelling that takes place. They looked at the NatSem work, but they've also looked at the veracity of all that. They have signed off on modelling and assumptions, if you look at the letter. And I'm very confident that this is as good as, if not better, than the work that would come out of Treasury.
We challenge the Prime Minister and the Treasurer to now have the same comprehensive process in relation to their own spending initiatives.
The Liberals have abandoned Mr Costello's Charter of Budget Honesty, and I think that shows that they're just not capable of running a modern economy. It demonstrates yet again why Mr Costello thinks that the Liberals are not capable of running the economy. These costings are full of holes and mistakes.
You can bet the Treasurer will be working overtime to look for mistakes in the several pages of documents released so late in the campaign.
What the hold-up was today in getting to us?
Well, we run to our timetable. We don't run to Wayne Swan's.
Well, I think they're running away from scrutiny, just like Mr Abbott is running away from a debate with the Prime Minister.
This is a sham on the other side of politics. They have misled, they have, by omission, they have, I think, played a game.
There's been no shortage of game playing by either side in this final week, especially when it comes to the question of a debate or a community forum or both.
Now, I went to the ABC studios yesterday, quite prepared to have a debate with the Prime Minister on the economy. Let me tell you what the Prime Minister was doing. Yesterday, she was sitting on the tarmac at Sydney Airport, trying to make up her mind what to do.
I will go from here to Brisbane and I will be there at 6 o'clock tonight waiting to debate Mr Abbott on the economy. This is the debate that Australians deserve to have.
Just here in case.
They're not going to get it. Not in Brisbane tonight or any other time, it seems. Instead, the leaders were appearing separately at a community forum to answer questions from Queensland voters and hoping to swing as many votes in their favour as possible.
Political editor Heather Hewitt.